Sit back and enjoy an hour of fascinating facts you didn't know. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. Let's get started.
In some cities, only red lights are used at night. Although this might seem odd, there's a very good reason for it. The red light prevents disturbance to local wildlife. In areas near the coast, red lights are used to avoid confusing newborn sea turtles. These hatchlings instinctively move toward the ocean, guided by the moonlight, and white lights could disorient them.
This is a gomboch, a geometric shape that rights itself no matter the point of support. What is striking is that its design is perfectly homogeneous, so there is no uneven weight distribution. The trick is that it has only 2 points of equilibrium, one stable and one unstable, so the gomboch simply moves until it settles into rest. This shape allows scientists to explain the ability of some turtles to flip themselves over thanks to their shells. Although most people think pufferfish are soft and gelatinous, they actually have a fairly robust internal skeleton. Unlike other fish whose skeletons are made of hard bones, the pufferfish skeleton is cartilaginous. This allows them to be flexible and adapt to their inflated shape without breaking, turning them into a ball that is almost impossible for predators to swallow. In this video, you can see how a young man assembled a puzzle of 42,000 pieces. Because the recording is a time-lapse, we can see him finishing it in just a couple of minutes, but it actually took the user about 500 hours spread over almost a year. He started it in April of the year 2019 and completed it in March of 2020. Look at this curious species of spider that looks like a leaf. It was discovered in tropical rainforests in southwestern China. The female's abdomen is green and brown, making it resemble both living and dry leaves. Scientists believe it is a species of orb weaver spider that had not yet been described. It is not clear why it developed this appearance, but it is possibly to hide from predators or to ambush its prey. Meet John Edward, the man who became trapped in a cave forever. He was 26 years old and loved cave exploring with his family. His father often took him on expeditions in Utah since he was a child. The problem began when John wanted to pass through a cave formation known as the Birth Canal, but he entered the wrong passage. He ended up in an unmapped section of the cave, and when he tried to turn around, he became trapped, unable to move, with barely enough space to breathe.
This is Nobumitsu Murabayashi, a Japanese man who keeps a massive alligator as a pet. While most people wouldn't dare get close to such a reptile, Nobumitsu bought one from a pet store more than 40 years ago and named it Kaiman-san. Since then, it has become part of his family, lives in his home, and eats like any other pet. He even takes it out for walks.
In the future, insects are likely to become part of our daily diet, according to many experts. In fact, approximately 20% of the world's population already consumes insects on a regular basis. It is believed that in the coming decades, everyone will incorporate insects into their diet, as they are a high-quality source of protein. Although their appearance may not be very appealing, the nutritional benefits of insects are undeniable. It is believed that these photographs, taken by Louis Boutin in 1893, are the first underwater photos in history. Boutin used a photographic camera inside a watertight copper box with openings for the viewfinder and the lens. The box had an air-filled compensation balloon to withstand water pressure and a shutter operated by a lever. He also developed an underwater flash, a glass bottle with oxygen and magnesium wire that could be ignited for half an hour. The ground of this forest appears to be breathing, and believe it or not, this scene is not staged. This occurred in Canada, but it is not a very common phenomenon. In fact, certain conditions must be met. With very strong winds during heavy rain, the water weakens the cohesion of the soil, and the force of the air on the treetops transfers movement to their roots. This is how these spectacles occur. However, it is not recommended to be nearby, since the strength of the wind could knock down the trees, putting the lives of people in the area at risk.
This is Alexander Doba, a Polish adventurer who became the first person to row solo across the Atlantic Ocean from Europe to New York without any assistance. In 2017, at the age of 70, he rowed 5,000 miles from France to the coast of New York, facing storms, powerful currents, and total solitude for 110 days. His feat showed extraordinary physical and mental endurance, inspiring generations of explorers.
In the year 2016, a company created the most expensive and exclusive potato chips in existence. Each package contained only 5 chips, but it cost $62. The reason for this price is that they were a limited edition of 100 units and were made using ingredients of the highest quality. These chips were produced by a Swedish microbrewery called St. Erik's, which claims they were hand-grown in a mountainous region far from civilization. They also state that the soil in which they grow is the most suitable for the development of the tuber, as it enhances its flavor and optimizes its nutritional benefits.
For about 20 years, these three animals live together, maintaining a very unusual friendship. They are Leo, Baloo, and Shere Khan. Their bond began when they were rescued together from an exotic animal trafficking ring. Since then, they have lived peacefully at an animal sanctuary called Noah's Ark in Georgia, United States. The leader of the group is the bear, the most playful is the tiger, but all three eat and have fun together. They even rub their heads against one another and lick each other's snouts.
In Welsh folklore, there is a charming belief that corgis were the preferred means of transportation for fairies. According to tradition, these small magical creatures used corgis to move swiftly across the landscape. It was said that corgis, with their short but agile legs, were ideal for carrying fairies through forests and fields quickly and discreetly.
Japanese influencer Toko caused a stir after spending over $14,000 to transform himself into a collie dog. He said it had always been his dream to become an animal, and the costume company Zeppet made it possible. Now he walks the streets dressed as a dog, but keeps his identity secret so his friends and coworkers won't think he's strange.
The placebo effect is a phenomenon in which people experience a real improvement in their medical condition after receiving a treatment that is itself ineffective. This effect is a powerful demonstration of the mind-body connection and is an important factor in clinical studies and the development of new medications. According to many people, this is the animal with the silliest appearance in the animal kingdom. The Arabian sand boa is characterized by its wedge-shaped head, small eyes, and narrow nostrils. These features allow it to adapt to living in burrows. This tiny black object is a camera. In fact, it is the smallest camera in the world. It measures only about 0.026 inches wide and deep, and 0.043 inches long. It is so small that the tip of a finger looks huge in comparison. It was developed by the company OmniVision, which specializes in creating cameras, touchscreens, and other similar products. In this particular case, the camera was designed for medical use.
One of the oldest dog breeds in the world is the Tibetan Mastiff, also known as the Red Mastiff. Originating from Tibet, it's famous for its massive size and thick, dense fur. In fact, one named Big Splash was sold for $1.5 million, making it one of the most expensive dogs ever purchased.
In The Walking Dead, actors must attend a kind of zombie academy where they are taught how to walk and move like the undead. The basic premise they are given is that they must act as if they had just left a bar at 4 in the morning. In 2005, Alex 2 created a website called the $1 Million Homepage. This site contained 1 million pixels that to be sold for $1 each in 10 by 10 blocks, with the goal of raising money to pay for his college education. It may sound like an absurd idea, but he ended up selling every single pixel in just 1 year, earning $1 million in a very simple way.
Meet the great hornbill, a bird species with an unmistakable appearance. It measures between approximately 35 and 39 inches in length and can weigh between about 4.4 and 8.8 pounds. It has vivid colors. The body, head, and wings are mostly black, while the abdomen and neck are white. But the most striking feature of the great hornbill is the yellow casque located above its large beak of the same color.
This man, Robert Samuel, founded a company dedicated entirely to saving spots in waiting lines. It's called Samo Line Dudes, and he earns about $1,000 a week just by doing this. His story is fascinating. In 2012, during the launch of the iPhone 5, Samuel offered to hold a spot in line for an Apple fan for $100. The idea was so successful that he began offering his service to other clients and soon realized he had found a profitable business opportunity.
A mountaineer found a wallet in the Andes mountain range. It had fallen from a plane that crashed in 1972 near that location. Upon investigating, he realized that the owner was one of the 16 survivors of the accident. He returned it 32 years later. This is a Venus flytrap, also known as a carnivorous plant, and here you can see why. It has small sensors that alert it when prey passes over it. These sensors can distinguish between a living animal and other stimuli such as wind or a drop of water. When it is sure its prey is completely unsuspecting, it snaps shut quickly to trap it and slowly digest it. Have you ever seen this natural phenomenon? It is known as a sky tsunami, and it is actually a wet microburst, a very intense downward current produced by a thunderstorm or heavy rain. Here's what happens when you pour drain cleaner onto toilet paper. The cellulose in the paper rapidly decomposes due to the high concentration of sulfuric acid, around 95%, causing an intense chemical reaction. It's extremely dangerous and should never be attempted at home. In Trafalgar Square in London stand 4 majestic bronze lions that are older than Big Ben. It is said that if the clock ever strikes 13 times, the lions would come to life, causing catastrophic consequences for the city. Built in 1867 by the British sculptor Sir Edwin Landseer, they were modeled after a dead lion, which, due to the long construction process, completely decomposed before he was able to sculpt the legs. As a result, he had to base them on the legs of a domestic cat to finish them. Sequoias, some of the largest and longest living tree species in the world, can live for more than 3,000 years. These impressive trees can reach heights of more than approximately 328 feet and have massive trunks that can measure several feet in diameter. Over the years, scientists have used elephants as a basic unit to categorize clouds. Believe it or not, they can register tons of weight. By performing the necessary calculations and obtaining the density and volume, it can be determined that the weight of the cloud would be approximately 551 tons, filled with water and ice crystals. The calculations can vary depending on the clouds. For example, those dark cumulonimbus clouds can weigh 200,000 elephants or more, considering that each one weighs approximately 2.2 tons. The largest swimming pool in the world is located in Chile. It stretches approximately 0.38 miles from end to end and holds around 66 million gallons of seawater. These are Japanese signatures. Unlike us, they do not scribble their names. They use ink seals on all kinds of documents, even on works of art. Generally, they use 2 types, an inkan for official matters and a hunko for personal matters. Most Japanese people obtain these seals after finishing high school and before starting college. This is the most beautiful and strange stone in the world. It is a gigantic jade stone. In 2016, the largest jade stone in history was found in Burma. The stone is approximately 14 feet tall, 19 feet long, and weighs around 193 tons. This enormous jade is valued at an impressive $170 million. Burma is the source of nearly all the finest jade stones in the world.
There are more statues of lions in the world than real lions. You can find lion statues guarding monuments, temples, government buildings, and historic sites across the globe. In Kuching, Malaysia, known as the City of Cats, locals pay tribute to their beloved felines with numerous statues and cat museums. The city's deep affection for cats attracts tourists and cat lovers from around the world.
Certain studies have discovered that the saliva of marine snails is as effective at relieving pain as morphine. The advantages over the latter are that very low doses are needed and it does not cause addiction. Can you imagine going 11 years without sleeping even a little? This woman has experienced it firsthand. Her name is Tai Lo, and she lives in Vietnam. She is 36 years old. Apparently, she has suffered from severe insomnia since the age of 25. Although she has consulted specialists and has been prescribed medication, it seems impossible for her to fall asleep. In 1960, a man in England named David Latimer planted a plant inside a bottle. Surprisingly, the last time he watered it was in 1972, and yet the plant continued to grow and flourish. Inside the sealed bottle, a small self-sustaining ecosystem was created that recycles its own water and nutrients. This phenomenon is known as a hermetosphere.
Contrary to popular belief, tomato sauce isn't Italian, it's Mexican. Tomato sauce was already being sold in the markets of Tenochtitlan when the Spanish arrived, about 200 years before the first tomato sauces appeared in Italy.
The Western Korowai tribe lives in the tallest tree houses in the world. Each one is built at approximately 115 feet high, and they do this to stay safe and away from wild animals and insects.
Across the world, archaeologists have found elongated human skulls, some intentionally shaped through ancient cultural practices. These findings have sparked speculation about their origins and purposes.
This impressive skinless animatronic baby looks a bit disturbing. It was created by the company Millennium FX for the 2003 movie This Little Life. At the beginning of the Jurassic period, there was a species of dinosaur called Pegomastax, and it is one of the strangest dinosaurs ever discovered. It is described as a mix between a parrot and a porcupine, and it had a beak and teeth that it sharpened by opening and closing its jaw. The bristlecone pine, found in the White Mountains of California, is considered the oldest tree in the world. Some specimens of this species have lived for more than 5,000 years, making them some of the longest living organisms on Earth. Look at what an elephant's feet look like compared to an X-ray of a human foot wearing high heels. What surrounds the elephant's bones are fatty tissues, muscles, and tendons, which cushion the animal's weight as it walks.
The tongue of giant anteaters can measure up to approximately 23.6 inches. These extraordinary animals, also known as giant anteaters, use their long tongue, covered with backward-facing spines and sticky saliva, to capture and consume up to 30,000 ants and termites per day.
Owls are the only birds capable of seeing the color blue. Most birds perceive ultraviolet and violet tones, but the owl's large yellow eyes can detect blue light, though their overall color range remains limited. Before his political career, Donald Trump was known as a reality show star for his program The Apprentice. The show gave him a national platform and helped him establish his personal brand before running for president of the United States. In Tsingy de Bemaraha National Park in Madagascar, you can find stone towers, sharp and eroded limestone formations that create a spectacular and unique landscape. It is a place of great ecological and geological importance, home to many endemic species. Off the coast of Belize lies the Great Blue Hole, a massive underwater sinkhole that's one of the world's most famous diving sites. Its deep blue waters attract divers eager to explore its unique geological formations and rich marine life. This is the Tokai Challenger, an astonishing Japanese solar-powered car. It is a project carried out by Tokai University in collaboration with several Japanese automotive companies. This vehicle has an average speed of approximately 62 miles per hour thanks to the clean energy it receives from the sun, making it far more sustainable than a conventional car and a model for future ecological designs. This is a fully functional car made of cardboard. It was created at the initiative of the car manufacturer Lexus. They named it Origami Car, and it is actually a replica of their IS sedan model. It was made with the intention of paying tribute to the great skill of the workers who assemble the brand's vehicles, since to perfect their abilities, employees practice making origami figures using only their non-dominant hand. The largest rabbit in the world is Darius. He lives in the United Kingdom, measures around 51 inches long, and weighs approximately 48 pounds. He is literally a small giant. His owner is Amy Edwards, who also has a couple of other rabbits, as well as Darius's offspring. To manage his diet, she spends about $7,500 a year. That amounts to around 2,000 carrots and 700 apples. Off the coast of Yonaguni, Japan, lie underwater structures that some believe are the remains of an ancient submerged city. These formations include terraces, stairways, and passages that have sparked debate among scientists and archaeologists about whether they are natural or man-made. This art installation, created by Roy Lichtenstein, uses perspective to trick our eyes. Here, you can see exactly what that means. Ian Davis is a mechanical engineer from the state of Oregon, United States, who lost 4 fingers on his left hand after an accident in his workshop. He decided to build a prosthetic hand using a 3-dimensional printer. Through his social media, he shows impressive images of his invention, which allows him to perform everyday tasks with ease. Emperor penguins stand about 47 inches tall, making them the tallest living penguins. However, extinct super penguin species once existed that reached up to 6 feet 6 inches in height, roughly the same as basketball player LeBron James. Marco Polo was a Venetian merchant and explorer who traveled through Asia in the 13th century. His book, The Travels of Marco Polo, was one of the first detailed European descriptions of the East. The horned screamer is the unicorn of birds. These animals grow a long cartilage spine in the middle of their foreheads. They do not use it to fight, since it is quite fragile and can break. Instead, it functions more like an ornament. Only between 1% and 3% of the population has a gene called HD2 that regulates the duration of sleep. It was first discovered in a family of short sleepers who needed less sleep than average. Studies have revealed that this gene optimally supports cognitive function with just a few hours of sleep per day. This has led researchers to explore how to manipulate this gene to address insomnia and improve sleep quality. Let me introduce you to Eva, a humanoid robot that takes photographs at social and corporate events. She was created by the British company Service Robot and can take perfect images thanks to a facial recognition system that allows her to identify the most relevant guests. Eva communicates and gives instructions through her screen. In addition, she has an infrared sensor system and virtual mapping that allow her to move through spaces without colliding with obstacles.
Meet Nina Kennelly, an American woman who was 66 years old and rented herself out as a mother through the internet. It was a peculiar business that began in the year 2015. Her company was called Need a Mom, and its slogan was, "When you need a mother, but not your mother." She charged a rate of $40 per hour, and the service she offered consisted of listening to her clients' problems, giving them advice, helping them plan and do their shopping, among other tasks that mothers usually do. The wealthiest man in Georgia, Bidzina Ivanishvili, resides in a $50 million mansion built mainly with glass and metal. This house, known as the Glassel or Glass Castle, offers a panoramic view of the entire city of Tbilisi from its upper floor.
This curious animal is a Proteus, a species of salamander that inhabits a network of underground caves in Bosnia and Herzegovina. It resembles a small dragon. Look at its tiny legs. Part of the town of Setenil de las Bodegas in Spain is located beneath a massive rock formation. This is because the town is situated in a canyon eroded by the Guadalquivir River. The houses in the town were built by taking advantage of the cavities left by the river's erosion in the rock.
Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, never completed his college studies despite enrolling at Reed College in Oregon in 1972. After 6 months, he dropped out, following his instincts to reinvent himself and create the Apple giant.
Since 2011, China has banned all media depicting time travel or alternate realities in television and film. The government claims such content is a bad influence on citizens and disrespects Chinese cultural heritage by promoting fictional or absurd myths. Your kidneys filter about 200 liters of blood each day, purifying it and producing up to 2 liters of waste and excess water that become urine.
The elephant shrew, despite its name and its shrew-like appearance, is not related to shrews as one might initially think. Surprisingly, the closest relative of the elephant shrew is not another small mammal, but actually the elephant. Both belong to the Afrotherians, a diverse group of mammals that originated on the African continent millions of years ago.
At the University of Exeter in the United Kingdom, you can earn a postgraduate degree in magic and esotericism, but do not get your hopes up. You will not leave there transformed into a wizard like Harry Potter. It is a program in which students must study everything about King Arthur and dragons, learning about magical traditions, and although it focuses only on their history, religion, and other magical sciences from both the West and the East, it is still a bit unsettling.
The elevators at New York's New World Trade Center feature an interactive video that shows the city's evolution over the past 500 years as you ascend.
Dolphins sleep with one eye open. In some animals, sleeping with one eye open is not just a saying, but a real phenomenon. This happens because they must keep half of their brain awake in order to breathe and avoid dying while they sleep.
This is the worst thing that could happen to a person with ornithophobia. These sailors encountered an enormous flock of birds out at sea.
KFC produced an edible nail polish for its customers in Hong Kong. The polish comes in 2 flavors and colors, original and hot and spicy. To use it, consumers must apply it to their nails, let it dry, and then lick it over and over again. KFC asked its consumers to choose their favorite flavor to produce it on a large scale.
If water smells like cinnamon, it is crucial to refrain from drinking it. This peculiar warning is based on documented cases in which the smell of cinnamon was used to mask the taste or odor of toxic or poisonous substances.
The oldest restaurant in the world was founded in 1725. Its name is Casa Botín, and it is located in the city of Madrid, Spain. In 1 hour at this place, you can experience centuries of culinary history.
This is how nails are oriented before being packaged. Since the head contains more metal, it's naturally attracted to a magnet. That way, all the nails end up facing the same direction in the box.
CLA Terre is a funeral services company that launched the first consolidated service for transporting coffins by bicycle, with the goal of doing its part to reduce environmental impact. To provide this service, an electric bicycle is attached to a 3-wheeled steel platform that carries the coffin, called the corbicicleta. The platform features assisted load technology that makes pedaling easier. This innovative service does not reduce the seriousness or importance of the occasion. On the contrary, the elegant design of the bicycle, together with the ecological proposal of the service, has led many people in Paris to choose it.
Kilauea is the name of the most active volcano of the 5 that make up the island of Hawaii.
and between 1969 and 1974, it experienced the longest eruption in its history, lasting 1,774 days. With a height of approximately 3,280 feet, this gigantic lava dome covered more than approximately 458 million cubic yards and was so intense that it traveled a distance of approximately 7.5 miles under the sea. This is how medications are manually encapsulated. First, all the empty capsules are opened at the same time. At the end, they are packaged and ready to be delivered.
This peculiar machine folds and launches paper airplanes automatically. A sheet is fed into one end, where rollers and 3D printed parts fold it precisely before it's fired out the other side, all in a matter of seconds.
This Arctic walrus fell asleep on an iceberg and woke up in Ireland. This was the hypothesis reached by marine biologist Kevin Flannery, director of the Ocean World Aquarium in Dingle, after the walrus appeared floating on an iceberg near Valentia Island on the west coast of Ireland. The walrus was discovered by a 5-year-old girl while she was walking along the Irish coast with her parents. Another hypothesis suggests that the animal traveled in search of food or to reproduce. This is the Ardrucker, a strange project that prints designs on t-shirts using manhole covers. The artist Emma Francis gets the prints for her shirts in a very unusual way, using manholes and other unconventional street elements to decorate clothing. This technique was named inverse street art and is quite simple. She only cleans the surface she will use, paints it with washable ink, and then carefully places the fabric to capture the design. This musical composition, known as the Epitaph of Psycholos, is considered the oldest complete piece of music for which we have a record. There are no indications of tempo or dynamics, so the speed at which the song would have been performed is unknown. The Netherlands has more bicycles than people. Known as one of the world's most bike-friendly countries, it's estimated to have around 22 million bicycles for a population of roughly 17 million people. In some Asian countries, there are video games in public restrooms. This system was developed by the video game company Sega and allows users to play while using the urinal. It contains pressure sensors that measure the force and amount of fluid, which are used to determine the results of the various minigames available. It features an LCD screen and is essentially a video game console called Toilet. Shaquille O'Neal holds the record for the largest purchase in the history of Walmart. The former basketball player spent $70,000 in a single visit to the supermarket in 2008. The shopping list included pants, socks, shirts, televisions, computers, and many other items.
Once again, robots are taking our jobs. Stanley Robotics has created the world's first robotic valet parking system. Watch it in action. Depending on where you are in the world, the moon appears differently in the sky. This is how it looks in the United Kingdom, and this is how it looks in Australia, flipped upside down. At Amsterdam's airport, the urinals have tiny fly stickers. They're placed there to give men something to aim at, reducing splashes and keeping the bathrooms cleaner.
The Cullinan diamond, discovered in South Africa in 1905, is the largest diamond ever found on Earth. It was cut into several smaller stones, some of which are part of the British crown jewels. There is a Rolls-Royce car called Cullinan in honor of this diamond. This is the longest water roller coaster in the world. It is located in China, and the ride measures approximately 1.68 miles. And this is what the ride looks like from a first-person perspective.
Artist Carl Johnson crafts paper silhouettes of people's profiles, often without them realizing it. His incredible precision with scissors is truly remarkable. In this commercial by the brand Polig, artist Luca Zanotto makes the world's smallest cup of coffee from a single coffee bean.
The famous actor Nicolas Cage is actually the nephew of the acclaimed film director Francis Ford Coppola, who directed very famous movies such as The Godfather. However, he chose to use a different stage name to distance himself from his famous uncle. His real name is Nicholas Kim Coppola.
In Kyoto, Japan, the Arashiyama bamboo forest is a place of serenity and natural beauty. Walking along the path surrounded by tall bamboo swaying in the wind is a unique and peaceful experience, highly appreciated by both locals and tourists. The first palm tree grew at the North Pole more than 50 million years ago. This was due to a short period of thawing that caused temperatures to hover around 46 degrees Fahrenheit.
In China, a full-scale Gundam statue was built. This towering structure measures about 59 feet tall and stands at the entrance of the Lalaport Shanghai Mall. It was announced in July 2020 and completed in April 2021. While it's not the only Gundam statue in the world, it's the first equipped with mechanical movement.
This is the oldest unopened box of chocolate in existence. It was manufactured 123 years ago, in 1902, to celebrate the coronation of King Edward VII. This is how they capture cats' movements to animate them in movies and video games. They are guided through many obstacles that help obtain a full range of motion.
The expiration dates on water bottles don't apply to the water itself, but to the plastic, which can degrade over time.
Rocky Bune can find the center of gravity and balance of any object in just a few seconds. It is truly incredible to watch. Surprisingly, the animal featured in the Mozilla Firefox logo isn't a fox, it's a red panda, which distorts starlight as it reaches our eyes. From space, without atmospheric interference, stars appear steady and constant. In the past, tennis balls were white and black. Starting in 1972, they changed their color to make them more visible to spectators. The mysterious Bermuda Triangle is a region in the North Atlantic Ocean known for the unexplained disappearance of more than 50 ships and 20 aircraft. Despite numerous theories attempting to explain the phenomenon, the Bermuda Triangle remains an unsolved enigma. Jumping into water from a great height feels like hitting the ground due to the viscosity of water. At high speeds, water resists rapid deformation, behaving more like a solid during those brief moments. This can cause injuries similar to impacts against hard surfaces. The largest shark in the world is the whale shark. This species is the largest in the world, with a maximum recorded length of more than approximately 39 feet. Despite its enormous size, it is a filter-feeding species that feeds mainly on plankton and small fish. Many scenes in insect documentaries are not filmed in nature. For example, this scene from a documentary about the Ampulex compressa wasp was filmed in 2 tanks specially made for the project. Here you can see another example with beetles. The longest-running video game franchise belongs to Mega Man by Capcom. Since its debut in 1987, the franchise has more than 40 titles. In addition, if Mega Man's appearances in other games are included, the total reaches 93 games. This was one of several rings used in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Its size helped film these scenes where forced perspective was used to achieve a better effect.
Jackie Chan is best known for blending martial arts and comedy in his films, but he's also a singer. Since 1984, he has released 20 albums that have become hits across Asia.
The International Space Station travels at a speed of approximately 17,400 miles per hour, which allows it to orbit the Earth in about 90 minutes.
If you've ever looked at an old map, you might have noticed drawings of sea monsters in certain parts of the ocean. These illustrations didn't mean the map makers believed in monsters. They were used to mark regions of turbulent, dangerous waters.
Feeding ducks bread is one of the worst things you can do. It fills them up but provides no nutritional benefit, causing malnutrition. There is a project to turn cockroaches into cyborgs. It is called biobots, a kind of backpack for these insects with direct connections to the neurons in their antennae. With this device, people can control the insect's movements from a phone application, and according to its creators, the cockroaches do not feel pain when subjected to this invention, as they only undergo minor surgery with anesthesia. In addition, the device can simply be carefully removed so they can return to their normal lives.
The Hand of Buddha is located in Guangdong Province, China. This bronze statue stands about 23 feet tall and 52 feet wide, perched on a mountain roughly 3,280 feet above sea level. It's accessed by a stairway without handrails, though a safety net is installed beneath the structure to prevent accidents.
This is how the cone snail hunts its prey. It looks as if it is hypnotizing it. The snail injects a toxin that paralyzes any nearby fish. The prey is incapacitated immediately. Meet PigeonBot, a robot made with pigeon feathers that can fly perfectly. It was designed by a group of researchers seeking to understand the flight mechanisms of birds. To achieve this, they studied the movements of feathers and joints in pigeons and then created a model capable of flying like a real one. With this project, its creators hope to inspire those who build future flying machines. Some species of fish have the ability to walk on land. One example is the African lungfish, which can use its fins to move out of the water and breathe air when its aquatic habitat dries up. Another is the toadfish, which walks along the seafloor in search of food.
Public restrooms in Japan often have baby holders. These seats are designed to keep infants secure while parents use the toilet, ensuring the baby doesn't wander off.
Australia is the first country to decide to incorporate these futuristic traffic signs. They work by projecting a laser onto a curtain of water. They are mostly used at tunnel entrances to warn truck drivers about height restrictions.
For this reason, Coca-Cola tastes better in a glass bottle or a can than in a plastic container. Both glass and cans seal the flavor better, preventing alterations caused by oxygen and carbon dioxide. In addition, glass does not add strange flavors, and cans keep the beverage colder. Plastic, on the other hand, can allow small gases to escape and chemical compounds from the container to mix with the drink, slightly altering its taste.
The largest Tesla coil ever built was made by Greg Lath. It is part of a sculpture approximately 39 feet tall. It was created for a private sculpture park in Kaka Point, near Auckland in New Zealand.
The blind see absolutely nothing. Blindness is the total absence of visual perception. No colors, no shades, nothing. Their world is built through other senses like touch, hearing, and smell, allowing them to experience reality in unique ways.
Modern football, or soccer, evolved from ancient ball games with roots in various cultures. The organized version is attributed to England in the 19th century. The Football Association established the rules in 1863, laying the foundations of the sport. Its popularity grew rapidly and spread worldwide. Today, soccer is one of the most played and followed sports around the globe. Arnold Schwarzenegger was the first civilian owner of an electric Hummer. He acquired the first one in the world, a red model inspired by the H1, but much larger. The appendix stores small samples of beneficial bacteria, so that in case of an emergency, such as an intestinal infection or diarrhea, your body can repopulate the good bacteria in the digestive system. In Tiahuanaco, Bolivia, stands the Gateway of the Sun, an ancient carved stone arch that belonged to a pre-Incan civilization. It is believed to have been an important religious and astronomical monument, and its most famous carving depicts the god Viracocha, surrounded by other mystical figures. On one occasion, during a visit to the zoo, boxer Mike Tyson wanted to bribe the head of security with $10,000 to let him fight a silverback gorilla. This was solely to impress his girlfriend. Liz Cambage is one of the tallest professional basketball players in the world. She measures approximately 6 feet 9 inches tall. This is the highest hanging cafe in the world, suspended nearly 984 feet above the Dashbashi Canyon in Georgia. This spectacular bar is suspended at about 919 feet in height and is accessed by a walkway from which you can admire breathtaking panoramic views of its waterfalls and caves. This adorable creature is the African wild dog. Don't be fooled by its cute face. Adults are among the most efficient hunters on the planet, with a success rate of 89%. Most predators don't even reach 30%, making these dogs extraordinary hunters. People are more creative in the shower. When we shower with hot water, we experience an increased flow of dopamine, which makes us more creative. The producers of Kung Fu Panda learned Kung Fu. As incredible as it may seem, some of those who worked on this film attended Kung Fu and Tai Chi classes. This allowed them to analyze and understand the mechanics of these martial arts, and then integrate them authentically into the movie. Albert Einstein's parents believed their son had mental problems. Einstein was known for his tendency to question the status quo from an early age, which sometimes led to behaviors that might have been considered unusual by his parents and teachers. In his youth, he seemed distracted and uninterested in traditional teaching methods, which led to this perception. The human eye can distinguish up to 10 million different colors, thanks to cone cells in the retina that detect variations in light wavelength. This ability allows us to perceive the world in rich shades and tones. Bhutan is the only country that uses gross national happiness as a measure of success, prioritizing the well-being of its population over economic growth. Some of the most exclusive buildings in the world are equipped with elevators for vehicles. Watch how they lift them. You can admire your supercars from your living room. This is the oldest soccer ball found so far. It dates back to the year 1540 and is half the size of a conventional ball. It was made from a pig bladder.
Basil releases a stronger aroma when touched. This happens because the plant emits essential oils upon contact, a process called volatilization. That's why chefs often crush basil leaves slightly before using them to enhance their fragrance and flavor.
Harihar Fort is an impressive natural fortress that rises to approximately 3,674 feet in elevation and is famous for its steep stone steps. This is what the work of a sheepdog looks like from above. The coordinated movement of the sheep is incredibly hypnotic. The herding dog, such as a border collie or an Australian shepherd, guides and drives all the sheep into their pens in an orderly and systematic way. These herding dogs are generally selected for their dominance and strong hunting instinct, which allows them to manage the flock effectively.
The most expensive bottle of champagne in the world is the Goût de Diamants. Its label is made of 18-karat white gold with diamond inlays and has a price of around $1.5 million. Wilson Airless, the first airless basketball, has been printed in 3 dimensions as a single piece. It is made up of hexagonal holes and follows the same principles as airless tires. The key lies in the hardness and elasticity of the materials.
This is the Hoverbike X Turismo, the world's first flying motorcycle. It can reach speeds of up to 62 miles per hour and stay airborne for about 25 minutes. The Japanese company ALI Technologies is behind this futuristic invention.
This Brazilian slackliner walked above giant waves in one of the most extreme locations in Portugal. His name is Emerson Machado, and he carried out this extreme feat on a rock known as Pedra do Guilhem in northern Nazaré. This site is visited every year by hundreds of adventurous people who seek to witness the monstrous waves that crash against this stretch of coast. Dreams occur during REM sleep, a phase in which the brain is active but the body is immobilized. Scientists still debate their exact purpose, but they are believed to help process emotions, consolidate memories, and solve problems. Dreams are produced by neuronal activity in the brain during this phase of sleep. The word cacao comes from the Mayan language and means bitter drink. For the ancient Maya, cacao was much more than a simple beverage. It was considered the food of the gods and was associated with divinity, fertility, and power.
This is the largest marble track in the world, measuring more than 984 feet long and built with over 126,000 pieces. It was created by the American company Kegs. The track uses 10 lifts, 14 motors, and took more than 2 years to complete.
Meet Barry Marshall, a doctor who did something truly incredible. He drank a cocktail containing very dangerous bacteria to prove that they were the cause of stomach ulcers, something other doctors did not accept at the time. Within a few days, he began to develop ulcers and left his colleagues astonished. For this bold experiment, he received the Nobel Prize in Medicine in 2005. Blue tomatoes are a variety that has been cultivated to produce high levels of anthocyanins, the pigments responsible for their unusual coloration. This alters their flavor and makes them slightly acidic, but it also makes them more resistant to diseases. The blue or purple tone is not only on the outside, but can also be seen in the flesh of the fruit.
You can turn your organic waste into natural gas. This is now possible with home biogas, a device that allows you to convert food scraps and organic waste of any kind into gas that you can use for cooking for at least 3 hours per day, significantly reducing household bills, methane gas emissions, and polluting natural gas consumption. You can even use the byproduct as a natural fertilizer.
There is a word used to describe someone who gives opinions about things they do not know about. An ultra-crepidarian is someone who speaks beyond their knowledge. This term reflects the human tendency to talk about topics outside one's area of expertise.
There is a jellyfish that is capable of injecting its venom without the need to sting. It is the upside-down jellyfish, which inhabits shallow waters of the Caribbean. This species anchors itself to the ocean floor and releases mucus balls filled with venom through its small tentacles to hunt or defend itself, going unnoticed and becoming a nightmare for swimmers.
Meet Toby, the dog who holds the world record for popping 100 air-filled balloons in the shortest time possible. Toby managed to do it in just 28 seconds, and to achieve this, he had to train for years.
Would you change your name to Subway for free sandwiches for life? In August 2023, the sandwich chain held a contest offering lifetime sandwiches to anyone who legally changed their name to Subway. The company even covered all legal fees. Nearly 10,000 people entered, eager to take on the name. The winner remains unknown, but somewhere there may be a person legally named Subway.
This is what soda cans looked like in the 1930s. They were known as cone-top cans due to their shape, as they were a hybrid between a can and a bottle. This type of container was very popular between 1935 and 1940. Unfortunately, they stopped being used because they were difficult to transport, as they took up a lot of space and could not be stacked. They also commonly lost pressure. Today, they are sold as collectible items.
The Inca Empire flourished in the imposing Andes, with its sacred capital in Cusco, Peru. Founded, according to legend, by Manco Capac in the 13th century,
The Incas built a vast and organized empire that extended from southern Colombia to northern Chile. Cusco was not only their political and religious center, but also the beating heart of a culture rich in traditions and architectural achievements. Meet Valery Polyakov, a cosmonaut with one of the most incredible records. He is the person who has spent the longest continuous time in space, with a total of 437 consecutive days aboard the Mir space station between January of 1994 and March of 1995. Thanks to him, it was discovered that the human body could endure long periods of time in zero gravity without serious consequences.
Meet the kangaroo rat, a rodent capable of jumping up to about 6.5 feet in distance. It belongs to the Heteromyidae family and can grow up to 12 inches long from head to tail, weighing just over 3 ounces. It's recognizable by a dark tuft at the tip of its tail and lives in arid lowlands. Its powerful legs allow it to leap long distances like a kangaroo.
There is an event in the world called the Tough Guy Challenge, a race of approximately 9.3 miles that includes 32 challenges, such as burning embers, claustrophobic tunnels, and lakes with electrified wires, among others. Approximately 50% of participants do not finish the race. Have you ever wondered if dogs could talk? Dogs have limited vocal capabilities due to anatomical differences in their vocal cords and facial structures compared to humans. Although they can produce a variety of sounds, they lack the physical and cognitive ability to speak like humans. However, they can communicate through barking, growling, howling, and other sounds, as well as through body language and facial expressions. Robert De Niro is one of the most famous actors in Hollywood, but that is no coincidence. His performances are usually accompanied by intense preparation. For example, for the movie The Godfather Part 2, he lived in Sicily for 4 months to learn the language and local culture. For his role in the movie Taxi Driver, he obtained a taxi license and drove 15 hours a day for an entire month. And for other films, he has gained up to 60 pounds or learned to play instruments such as the saxophone. His great acting career is not the result of a miracle, but of very hard work.
Actor and comedian Jack Black and martial arts legend Jackie Chan worked together for 10 years on the Kung Fu Panda movies without ever meeting in person. Jack voiced Po in English while Jackie voiced Monkey. Because they recorded separately, they didn't meet until after the third film, when Jackie invited Jack to a hotel in China so they could finally meet face to face.
This enormous structure you are seeing is almost entirely made of bamboo. Bamboo is one of the best construction materials, even today. It is extremely flexible and very inexpensive to use if it grows locally. And as you can see, it is also incredibly strong.
Meet Autonomous Weeder, the agricultural robot capable of eliminating weeds with lasers that could affect crops. The robot features 12 high-resolution cameras, an artificial intelligence system with NVIDIA technology, carbon dioxide lasers of approximately 201 watts with a precision of around 1/10 of an inch, ready to fire every 50 milliseconds, LiDAR sensors that allow it to detect potential obstacles, and 8 modules that enable it to eliminate 100,000 weeds per hour.
This museum in Russia is the only one that has cats as permanent employees. This is because in the 18th century, Elizabeth I, the Empress of Russia, said that the museum needed cats to protect the artworks from sneaky rodents. Today, the museum has more than 100 cats living there, protecting the art from rats and other vermin.
Labor Day, celebrated on May 1st in many countries, has its roots in 19th century labor movements. It began in the United States after the Haymarket strike in Chicago in 1886, where workers demanded an 8-hour workday. The date became an international symbol of workers' rights, marked by demonstrations and celebrations honoring labor's role in the economy.
Meet the enormous wooden sculpture by artist Chen Chen-hui, which took 4 years to complete and measures a total of approximately 39.4 feet in length. The Chinese sculpture transformed a massive tree trunk into this masterpiece that recreates a famous Chinese painting called Along the River. It includes houses, plants, animals, mountains, and various architectural structures. It is the largest of its kind in the world, recognized by the Guinness Book of Records, and features 550 individually carved people. Today, this beautiful piece is considered one of the most important works of Chinese art.
Biologists have discovered that whale sharks have teeth in their eyes. These mysterious fish have small tooth-like structures similar to scales that protect their eyeballs.
This is one of the strangest features not seen in other animals. These teeth, called dermal denticles, are scales that act as armor, but also allow them to swim faster. Although it is already known that sharks are covered in scales, the most surprising thing is that they also have them inside their eyes. This is not an ordinary bridge, but rather a mobile bridge. The system is based on deploying a series of steel pillars or columns onto which a large crane then places the roadway panels that vehicles will drive on. It has the capacity for 4 lanes and is used to divert traffic during construction work in order to avoid congestion and accidents.
Here's what's inside soda vending machines. These boxes are filled with syrup containers of various flavors. When you press a button, a pump sends water and carbon dioxide to the carbonator, infusing the water with gas. The carbonated water is then mixed with the chosen syrup flavor before being dispensed into your cup.
This aquarium was modified so that a cat could see inside it from as close as possible. His name is Casper, and the owner of the Aquarius and Exotic Shop made this aquarium so that he could stick his head inside and watch the fish from the front row. It is clear that he loves spending hours observing them up close. Ninjas could tell the time just by looking at a cat's pupils. The art of nekomejutsu is the ability to determine the time of day with considerable accuracy by focusing exclusively on the pupils of cats. These animals are very sensitive to light, which is why they were the ideal tool for knowing the time of day. Jellyfish are 95% water. The physical structure of a jellyfish is mainly formed by a type of transparent gelatin called mesoglia, which is composed primarily of water and makes up most of its body, giving jellyfish their gelatinous and transparent appearance.
Penitentes, or snow penitents, are strange high-altitude snow formations that resemble the tall, pointed hoods of religious processions. They take the shape of thin, blade-like spikes of hardened ice, all facing toward the sun.
Airbus has succeeded in having one of its helicopters, an H-225 with a Makila 2 engine, complete its first flight using 100% sustainable aviation fuel. This fuel is an alternative to fossil hydrocarbons and is derived mainly from used cooking oil and other waste fats. In light of this, a large number of aviation industry professionals have committed to reaching net zero carbon emissions by 2050, a necessary challenge to protect the environment. Meet the roseate spoonbill, or Platalia ajaja, a water bird with coloration similar to that of flamingos. Apparently, it also gets its pigmentation through its diet. This animal has a flat bill, which gives it its curious name of spoonbill. It generally measures between approximately 28 and 34 inches in length, with a wingspan of approximately 47 to 52 inches. It feeds in shallow waters, walking slowly while moving its head from side to side and filtering mud with its bill.
This French bulldog is the mayor of Rabbit Hash in Kentucky, United States. Since 1998, this small town of at least 400 residents has had the curious tradition of appointing dogs to this political position. The one you see now is Wilbur, and he was elected at the end of the year 2000. However, he is only a ceremonial mayor and does not have to perform any real work. That said, he must give several interviews, especially during the first months of his election.
Tennis is one of the oldest sports in history, with origins dating back to 11th century France, where an early version called Jeu de Paume was played. Modern tennis as we know it began in 19th century England. The 4 Grand Slam tournaments, Wimbledon, the Australian Open, Roland Garros, and the US Open, are now the most prestigious events in the sport.
Perhaps in the future, our furniture will be like this. Transform is a table that adapts to whatever you are doing. Its surface is made up of more than 1,000 pieces, controlled by individual microprocessors, reacting to gestures, objects, and sounds. According to tradition, it is said that if you observe a statue in a park where a person on horseback has 2 of the horse's legs raised in the air, it means that person died in battle. If the horse has one front leg raised, it symbolizes that the person died from wounds received in combat. Finally, if the horse has all 4 legs on the ground, it is interpreted that the person died of natural causes.
The fascinating theory of panspermia suggests that life on Earth may have originated from microorganisms carried through space by comets, asteroids, or meteorites. It raises profound questions about the origin of life and the possibility of it existing elsewhere in the universe.
The country of Samoa once skipped an entire day. On December 31, 2011, they went from the 30th directly to January 1st. This happened because they officially changed their time zone to the other side of the international dateline,
which required them to move forward 24 hours. This is how the coin mechanism in vending machines works. Whether in parking kiosks or public transportation recharge machines, they have meticulously designed channels calibrated according to the size of each coin.
Meet the Himalayan vulture, which stands out for displaying its false eyes when adopting this posture. It appears larger and more intimidating to potential predators. This vulture has adapted by developing a bald area behind its head that resembles large white eyes. Although all vultures of this species have these false eyes, some have very small ones and only display them when they feel threatened.
A group of divers who were diving in a Swiss lake got quite a scare when they encountered the macabre statue you see in this video. As you can see, their fear was well-founded, as it was a shark with blade-like teeth and very large dark eyes. As you can imagine, it was a relief when they realized it was a statue, and it is still unknown how it got there, but surely whoever placed it there has a very macabre mind.
In 2009, an anonymous programmer under the pseudonym Satoshi Nakamoto created Bitcoin, the first cryptocurrency. Unlike traditional money, Bitcoin operates on a decentralized system with no need for banks or governments. Its value has fluctuated wildly, but has revolutionized how we view and use money, inspiring thousands of other digital currencies.
Turbulence on airplanes cannot be predicted. It can occur at any moment, even on days with good weather and no clouds.
In 1587, an English colony established on Roanoke Island, in what is now North Carolina, disappeared without a trace. The only clue was the word Croatoan carved into a tree. Despite numerous theories, the fate of the colonists remains one of the greatest mysteries in United States history.
The Tepuis of Venezuela. These tabletop mountains in the Gran Sabana of Venezuela are ancient geological formations with flat tops and vertical sides that rise dramatically above the surrounding jungle. Some tepuis, such as Mount Roraima, are home to unique ecosystems with plant and animal species that are found nowhere else in the world, true islands in the sky.
This is what the Energizer PowerMax P18K looks like, the mobile phone with the largest battery on the market. Its thickness is almost entirely due to its enormous battery. It has a capacity of 18,000 milliamps, while most other phones usually do not exceed 5,000 milliamps. Thanks to this, it can operate for up to an entire week without needing to be plugged in to electrical power.
This is the Water Walker and Spa, a strange aquatic training machine that works as both a spa and a shower. It is equipped with powerful jets that make water running more difficult and can move water at around 6.8 miles per hour. The best part of this machine is that it turns into a bubble spa so people can relax after exercising, and when it is emptied, it can also be used as a shower.
You may not have known that a day on Venus lasts longer than a year on Venus. To understand this, it is important to remember that a day is the time it takes a planet to rotate on its own axis, while a year is the time it takes to orbit around the Sun. Venus takes about 243 Earth days to complete one rotation on its axis, while it needs approximately 225 Earth days to complete one orbit around the Sun. Therefore, a day on Venus is longer than a year.
Basque rural sports are neither soccer nor basketball. The sports of Escaleria include activities such as wood chopping, stone lifting, or drilling rocks. They are usually sports of strength and endurance in which challenges between participants are very important. Today, these sports are part of Basque culture, and there are 18 officially recognized disciplines.
It's impossible to sneeze with your eyes open. You can try as many times as you like, but your brain automatically sends a signal to your eyelids to close when sneezing. This reflex prevents microorganisms from entering your eyes. However, in rare cases, some people can sneeze with their eyes open due to nerve irregularities.
This bicycle is designed to exercise the entire body. With most bicycles, only the legs can be exercised, but with Ducati Go, you can stimulate all parts of the body at the same time. It has a tube in its frame that extends to allow you to move your arms and back while pedaling. This ingenious bicycle can also be adapted to function like a normal one for those days when you do not want to exercise your whole body.
The Walt Disney Company was founded in 1923 by Walt Disney and his brother Roy in Los Angeles, California. The iconic character Mickey Mouse, created in 1928, was born out of the need to replace Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, which Disney had lost in a rights dispute. Mickey quickly became a symbol of the company and of pop culture. Today, Disney is an entertainment giant, known for its films, theme parks, and its impact on the film and animation industry.
This falcon was printed in 3 dimensions and now soars through the skies by remote control.
The plain print falcon can move its tail in all directions and has a small mechanism that extends the tail feathers when the elevator is activated, allowing the bird to be controlled like a real one.
If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it and share it with your friends. Subscribe so you don't miss more interesting content. Leave your comments and click on any of these videos. See you next time.